Peloton isn't just about bikes and treadmills. It's a team of instructors ready to motivate you 24/7. With Peloton, there are literally thousands of classes ranging from strength training and yoga to running and boxing, which means Peloton is the perfect non-judgmental space to experiment with new types of movement at a level and pace that feel good for you. But what if you're super busy? What I love most about Peloton is it doesn't matter if you have 5 minutes or an hour. If you're an early riser or a fan of the evening burn, there's a Peloton class that fits into your day. Maybe you're looking for a 10-minute upper body stretch between calls or a 30-minute run before bed. Peloton is where you'll find what works for you on your schedule, wherever you happen to be, at home, at the gym, or even outdoors. Oh, and did I mention that the music is absolutely iconic? In the mood to blast 90s hip hop? There's a class for that. Need to ugly cry to some power ballads after a bad day at work? There's a class for that. Looking for a Pride Month playlist that will get your blood pumping? There's a class for that too. My favorite Peloton class is Crush Your Core with Emma. Whatever you're into, Peloton has the music that will get you moving. Motivation that moves you anytime, anywhere. Try the Peloton Bike or Tread risk-free for 30 days. Learn more at onepeloton.com. New members only. Terms apply. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable with Demetria L. Lucas. There's so much going on. There's so much going on that I don't even know where to begin. Ghana is going very well. I've been doing these walks around my neighborhood every morning. One, to get some cardio in because all this jollof rice is bad for my waistline. But I've been getting to know my new neighborhood and exploring new restaurants, finding new shops that I like. Ghana has a ton of little boutiques that you would never really notice unless you were looking for them. But just walking around on foot as opposed to driving, I'm getting a better sense of what's around, what's available. Slowly but surely, it's all starting to come together. My friends who live here who are also expats from the States have given me a fair warning. They're somewhere around the 6-week mark, you start to feel like you're losing your mind. The what have I done that happens the first week that you're here, it comes in waves. The one that hits at 6 weeks, they said that's when I'll start genuinely missing certain Americanisms. And I was like, so far, I'm pretty good. I'm currently in search of sour cream. I'm not too worried about it because everything else that I've been in search of has miraculously appeared. I just have to find the right grocery store that has it. I'm sure I'll come across it. The Mexican spot up the street has sour cream, so I have faith this sour cream can be found. I found a couple really cute houseware spots. I don't know how I'm gonna get all this stuff back to America. I guess I'll just ship it like everybody else. But I found these 2 really cute houseware stores. I just want a couple things to make my house feel more like a home, which it does. I got this little bench in my hallway. And when I was living here previously as an Airbnb guest, the bench had statues and a couple knickknacks on it, really cute. It just gave the place a little bit more of a home feel. But my landlady took it back because she was like, oh, you're living here and I figured you want your own things, which I do. But I also wanted those cute things too. They did leave the paintings on the wall, which I really do like. I told you I bought a piece of art the other day. I still got to get that hung up though. But I found this vase. It almost looks like a Keith Haring design. I might go pick it up later today, depending on what time this podcast gets done. I also need to go get my nails done. My nails are okay. I just want to update them because it's $15 and why not? But my toes, I haven't had my toes done since before I arrived. I usually get my nails done 2 weeks and I get my toes every 4. But one of my toenails is chipped and it's driving me nuts. I really do need to go get my toes done. I've been writing these Dear Moms on my social media pages. The last couple ones that I've shared have been about dating in Ghana. And I think saying dating is probably not accurate. Men I have met in Ghana. I don't think I'm going to tell y'all any more stories about men that I meet. Every time I share something, people are acting like it's my next husband. And I'm like, I met a man. That's it. That's just it. I met a man. There's no more to the story. I went out. There was a man. I met him. The most recent story I told, this guy told me he wanted a key to my place. He would pay my rent. He wants to take me to some resort. And people are like, oh my God, girl, be careful. These men, these African men, they're possessive, they're controlling, they're whatever. And I was like, are men in America not? This one woman was like, you're not in America. You meeting these men. Literally, she said, he could take a machete and cut you in half. I was like, girl, what have you been watching on TV? You need to stop watching that Dateline shit. Men in Africa, I'm sure there's crazy too. It's not like American men don't be doing crazy shit. A couple episodes ago, we talked about a woman, the lady with 6 kids. I think she was in Philly. And her youngest child's father, that baby didn't even look 6 months in the picture that I saw. But the guy caught her outside the grocery store 8:30 in the morning and stabbed her to death. I don't remember the number of times, but it was a lot. They said when they found the lady, the knife was still sticking out of her head. I was like, what? Why would you just say you're not in America? Thank God. They be doing crazy shit over there. I haven't heard the crazy stories over here yet. I'm sure they're here to be told. But I was like, America has no moral high ground to talk about anybody else's crazy shit. But that's not the point. The point is, every time I say I met a man, people are like, what about him? What about him? I adore him. You know how I feel about him. Him is also not my boyfriend, and we live on separate continents. I'm bopping around Africa for a while. That could be 6 months. It could be a year. It could be 2. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just know I'm bopping around Africa, and I'm specifically saying Africa and not Ghana because I'm not even beholden just to Ghana. There's other places that I want to dwell in for indefinite periods of time. But literally every time I'm like, oh, I met a man. Like everyone gets so excited. Just meeting someone doesn't mean you're going to date them. It doesn't mean you're going to call them. Even if you give out their number, it doesn't mean you're going to answer. You just met someone. That's it. Sometimes I worry about people's understanding of meeting, just meeting, and then also dating. Every man you meet is not supposed to be your husband. It's not going to be your boyfriend. He's not supposed to be. Not going to be a date. It's not supposed to be. Not going to be a phone call. It's not supposed to be. Sometimes you just meet people and that's it. But just some of the inquiries, some of the responses, I'm just like, I need y'all to bring it down to a 10. Bring it down to a 10 because you're somewhere around a 20. Bring it down to a 10. Or this weird assumption that I don't know, I've moved to another continent and all my common sense has gone out the window. I'm like, I brought my discernment and common sense with me, right? I didn't just move to another country and then all of a sudden I don't know, turn into a 16-year-old with no dating experience. I'm still 43, y'all. I've lived. I don't get excited because a man talks to me. I don't get excited because a man offers me things. Y'all are women. Y'all are out in the world. Do men not offer y'all things on a regular basis? Men are always offering me something. I mean, most of them don't even have it to give, but they're always acting like they have something to do. That's kind of what dating is. Most people don't see it until after they're off the market. It's more clear when you're married or divorced. But a lot of what passes for dating, I thought it was just in the States, but also apparently in Ghana as well. A large part of dating is men showing up and dangling something in front of a woman. And I don't mean their dicks. I mean dangling something in front of a woman and seeing what hoops she'll jump through to get it. In America, largely, it's the possibility of a title of some sort. If you do all these things for me, then I will give you the honor of making you my girlfriend or making you my wife. That's a possibility, but let me see what you're willing to do in order for me to bestow you with that title. That's a lot of what passes for dating. Dysfunctional dating, to be clear. It was something I didn't notice until I was divorced and then I started dating again. I noticed the way that men dangle titles, and I only noticed it because I wasn't interested in it. So I was like, why is he talking to me on a first date about being my boyfriend or my husband? I'm not looking for either. And then it kept happening and I was like, this is weird. And then genuinely, men just didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to date me when I wasn't interested in being a girlfriend or a wife. We good vibes and we good times. We kicking it. What's good? And then they're like, huh? What you mean you don't want to be my girlfriend? I don't know you like that. We haven't even finished dinner. What are you talking about? But I guess over here, it's I offer you shit, which is very cute. I mean, I appreciate there's a desire not to show up empty-handed. You're offering me a resort instead of a coffee date, or you're offering to pay my rent. My rent was paid in advance before I got here. I'm good. My most major bill here is my cell phone, which actually costs more than my driver. I'm desperately concerned about my electricity and my internet consumption, but I think my electricity is, right now, it's looking like $40 a month. I'm going to put 60 on it every month just in case. I want to know that if I fall asleep with the light on, I'm going to still have electricity in the morning. I don't want to tempt fate. And then my internet, which I think is $25, I figured out the internet situation. But I was like, yeah, like if I want to go to a resort, sir, I can go to a resort. If I want to buy a home and I'm here to buy a condo, I have down payment money and condo money. Even the whole, like, you got to pay it within 2 years. Like, yeah, I'm good. Thanks. And if I wasn't, I got a daddy. Come now. I find it very cute that men are offering big shit. I would actually like to see the resort that he mentioned. I don't think I'll be going with him, though. The idea of a man I just met, even though he's my friend's cousin, going on a road trip 2 hours away as a first date, I'm good. I could have my driver take me to the resort and meet him there. That's a possibility. He called yesterday and today. I haven't called him back yet. Not even trying to be funny. I was running around yesterday. And then today I was on my walk this morning when he called. And when I got back, I had some work to do. I'm working now. Then I have to edit this. So I don't know. Maybe I'll call him tonight. I don't know. He was very nice. He was very charming. And he's my friend's cousin, so I don't want to be disrespectful. But I also have no obligation to him because of that. Like, stop. Folks are driving me nuts with that shit. I just need sometimes like people to like get a grip. Did you know apple cider vinegar has been used for centuries as a traditional remedy for digestion, gut health, and appetite? Goli ACV gummies are packed with essential B vitamins, B9 and B12, to help convert the food you eat into cellular energy. Vitamins B12 and B9, these essential vitamins support heart health, a healthy nervous system, immune health, and so much more. And what I love most about Goli is its amazing flavor profile. It has a delicious apple taste. I also love that Goli has no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or synthetic colors. It's vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO. Go to go.goli.com/ratchet, and you will be brought straight to the checkout page with our amazing discount already applied. Can't get easier than that. Once again, that's go.goli.com/ratchet and make Goli part of your wellness routine today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. When we're feeling overwhelmed, often we get stuck focusing on problems instead of solutions. It can be tough to train your brain to stay in problem-solving mode when faced with a challenge in life. But when you learn how to find solutions, there's no better feeling. A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easy to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. Y'all know I am a huge advocate of therapy. I think everyone should go, even if they don't feel like something is wrong. Go before anything goes wrong. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online, which is my favorite part. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey. And if the first therapist doesn't work for you, you can switch therapists at any time. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/ratchet today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/ratchet. I told this other story yesterday. I was talking about how I went to meet a friend who was in town at a coffee shop, and I ran into British Bay. And I think we talked about British Bay on here. I'm pretty sure I mentioned him. British Bay was this guy that I met when I was here in January, mid-40s. He's a diplomat, and he's stationed here for the next, I think, 4 years. I think when I met him, he'd been here for about 6 months, and he was singing the praises of Ghana. Like, he loved it. He was already talking about trying to figure out how to extend his stay for work because he really enjoys the country that much. We hung out a bunch of times. I think we dated probably for about 3 weeks or so before I went back to the States. We hung out probably every other day, sometimes every day, but I at least saw him like 4 times a week. Like, he was cool. He had good conversation. He goes out, so he knew all the places, like a lot of places that I had researched, but the other places I'd never heard of because he's just, here on the ground. So yeah, so we had a lot of fun, and we stayed in touch from January until I guess, April. So we stayed in touch for those few months. Like we FaceTime every now and again, not very often because the 7-hour time difference is really hard. We would WhatsApp just to, check in and, how was your day? Just thinking of you, things like that. Just so there was like, a communication. So the day I came back, he wanted to pick me up from the airport and he had a conflict with work. And he was like, I'm so sorry, but I really want to see you. And I was like, well, my flight doesn't land until I want to say 9. It's going to take me forever to get out the airport and then check into the hotel. I doubt I'll feel like going out, but if we do, and by we, I meant me and Davita because I was here with her again, call me and we'll see what's up. So it's very casual. So I had a friend here who took care of my visa and he came and got me off the plane, helped me get my bag. So he fast tracked me through the airport. I was wired by the time I got here and I didn't want to just sit in the hotel. So me and Davita were like, okay, we'll go to Kozo. Where we were staying, Kozo was really close by. And that's also my favorite restaurant here. Go over there, get a snack, get something to eat. Cool. We're at Kozo. Kitchen was closed. So we're sitting outside, just having a cocktail, enjoying the breeze, both happy to be back in Ghana. British Bay calls. He was like, I just finished my event. Where are you? We're at Kozo. It's about to close though. It's like 11 o'clock. So he says, are you hungry? And I said, yeah, like I haven't had anything to eat since I got off the plane. We came over here, but the kitchen was already closed. And he was like, okay, well, come by me. It's like, come to breakfast, get something to eat here. Breakfast to breakfast is like Ghana's equivalent of a Waffle House. It's a little nicer than a Waffle House, but it's a late night restaurant. I want to say it's 24 hours. They serve breakfast all day and some other random other things, but they're primarily known for breakfast, hence the name. He was like, oh, you and Davita, because he was clear that Davita was with me. He said, you and Davita come down here and get something to eat. He also met Davita on a previous trip, so kind of important to the story. So we take an Uber from Kozo, which is close to where we're staying at our hotel, and we go down to breakfast, which is in Osu. Because it's the middle of the night, it's no traffic, it's probably 15 minutes away. So we get there, he's not waiting outside. I was like, that's weird. So I text him and was like, hey, where you at? He was like, oh, I'm in the restaurant. Okay. So go in the restaurant. He's got a table. He's got a 4-top. So pleasantries, sit down, conversation. We order. Davita gets chicken wings and a lemonade. I order a falafel and a glass of Prosecco. He was already eating and had a drink when we got there. So chit-chatting, talking, bullshitting. This goes on for a couple hours. I'm starting to fade. Davita's starting to fade. I want to say she got here the day before I did. So we're both jet lagged and it's starting to catch up. I was like, I think we're fading. We're still jet lagged. Like, it's like, I'm starting to get tired. We're going to just go back to the hotel. He says, let me get the check. The lady comes over with the check. He takes the check and was like, it's 100 each, 100 CDs. 100 CDs is roughly $10. There are 3 people at the table, which means it's a $30 check. I was like, did you just invite me and my girl to come eat with you and ask us to split a $30 check? This is what I'm thinking in my head. I don't say it out loud. I say, okay. Davita's like, are you good? Because literally I just got here. It was super late when I got here. The banks clearly aren't open. The money man isn't available at this time of night. I guess I could have gone to an ATM, but I hadn't. I just happened to have CDs from the previous trip in December. So we pay and he says, I'm going to get the Uber since y'all paid for your dinner. And I was like, okay. And also to be clear, a 15-minute Uber in Ghana is maybe $2. I be in an Uber 24/7. If it's under 10 minutes to get there, it's literally $1. If that, sometimes it's 80 cents. So sure, whatever, dude. I just want to go back to my hotel at this point. So he calls the Uber. We go outside. He holds the back door open for me and Davita to get in the Uber. And then he opens the front passenger door and gets in. And I was like, wait, what's happening? And he was like, we're going to the hotel. And so I was confused because I was like, why is he going to the hotel with us? Surely he doesn't think he's coming to my room. He must just be coming to make sure that, it's late at night and he wants to just, be a male presence to make sure we get there safely. Because if I wanted him to come up, I would have just invited him. So breakfast to breakfast is on a side street. We drive to the main street and we should be turning left. The cab goes right. Look at Davita. I said, aren't we the other way? I usually have a really good sense of direction, but I'm jet lagged. I'm tired. Maybe I'm off. He's like, oh no, we're going to go to my house first. Huh? He was like, I'm going to go to the house and pick up my truck and then drive y'all to the hotel. And I was like, why? We could have just taken the Uber straight to the hotel. We take an Uber to the hotel. You take an Uber home. I'm like, okay, maybe he's trying to be like chivalrous. And again, I'm jet lagged. I'm tired. I'm confused. I'm just like, it's not really making sense, but it's me and Davita. So I'm not like as heightened as I would usually be. Because I was like, it's the two of us. What the fuck are you trying to do? So we get to his place, which is 3 or 4 minutes away. He was like, I'm going to take y'all upstairs because I have to grab money for the cab. And then y'all wait for me. And then I'll drive y'all back to the hotel. I'm like, okay, he wants to show me his place. He had told me previously that he lived in like a really nice part of town. He had this 3-bedroom apartment. And I was like, oh, okay, like he wants me to see his bachelor pad. He's trying to impress me. He needed to after he asked us to split a $30 bill. Fine, whatever. I'm just trying to go with the flow, trying to be like kind of agreeable. And again, it's me and Davita. So I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen? Go upstairs. The door to his apartment was beautiful. It's one of those like big doors that you see like in Morocco. So I'm expecting what's behind it to be like, you know, pretty magnificent. It was a spacious place. It was the 3-bedroom that he said it was. It was very clean. I wouldn't live there. He gets money, goes downstairs and pays the driver. Me and Davita are sitting upstairs like, what the fuck? Davita's looking at me like, what the fuck have you got me into? I was like, girl, I don't know. She was like, I don't even understand what's going on. She was like, do I need to like call an Uber and go home so y'all could be? And I was like, ain't no us being anything. Like wherever you go, I'm going. So he comes back upstairs and was like, you good? Like you want something to drink? And I was like, oh no, we're not staying. We just want to go back to the hotel. And I thought that that's where the Uber was taking us. And he was like, oh, okay. He said, well, let me give you a tour of the apartment. Okay. All right. So he's like showing me the living room. Like we're not just standing in the living room. And also too, like I hadn't like, you know, when he went downstairs, looked all up and through his shit. I ran through that whole apartment. I peeked in every door just to see exactly where I was. Make sure nobody else wasn't in that bitch. So he's giving me a tour of the apartment and like he's showing me his knickknacks. And part of what I had found attractive about him is that he's a career diplomat. So he lived in all these different places. I'd love that we could be talking about something and he'd be like, yeah, when I was in Pakistan, this happened. When I was in Jerusalem, this happened. When I was in Saudi Arabia, this happened. When I was in Vietnam, this happened. So this dude is at his credenza and he's showing me, oh, I got this statue here and I got this here and I got that there and blah, blah, blah. And it was all very interesting. It would have been more interesting at like 3 p.m. as opposed to like, I don't know, 2 a.m. So then he wants to show me the bedrooms. Sure. All right. The first room is the guest room. It is a twin size bed. I was like, what guest that is not a child is sleeping in a twin size room? And he previously told me that he didn't have children. And I said, I thought you didn't have kids. And he was like, I don't. And I was like, oh, okay. Just confused. And just so we're clear, this is not like a cultural thing or an economic thing. He, again, works for the British government. He gets paid in GPB. The pound is stronger than the dollar. He's a career diplomat. He's not broke. So I'm trying to make sense of like the furniture in the apartment was, I don't know if all college dorms have this, but at the University of Maryland, if you were an upperclassman, you could stay in suites. And we had this furniture downstairs. So a long futon that looked like a couch, and then a shorter futon that was like a love seat, and then this other like wooden piece that was kind of like our coffee table. There was a dining room table with chairs, all made of this hardwood. It's like indestructible wood, because you know how college students just abuse everything. Like when I think of college dorm rooms, this is what I think of. I also had almost the exact same furniture when I was in the dorms for NYU. Picture college student furniture. That's within this apartment. And I remember him telling me one time that when he goes to all these different places, one of the perks is his job picks up the cost of the apartment. And then also they ship all his furniture. And so I was confused and I was like, is this his furniture? This is what he's shipping all over the world. And then I'm thinking like, okay, and this is all going through my head as we're walking down the hallway. I was like, I guess if you're shipping your furniture from like one place to the next place, you need something durable and sustainable. So this hard college dorm furniture, would take a few shippings and be fine. You can't have delicate stuff and then be shipping it in containers all over the place. Like, I get it. But also, like, what? So then we get to his bedroom. It's another child-sized bed. Splitting the $30 was just weird. But then, like, in context, I'm finding out that he didn't have cash on him. But I was like, why didn't you just say that at dinner? Also, you don't have a credit card? You don't have a credit card? You don't have a debit card? Like, even when I go out for my morning walks, like, I have cash on me and I have a debit card. But I was like, okay, everyone doesn't think like me. But also still, why would you invite two people to come meet you, one of which is fresh off a fucking plane, who it's more likely than not that I wouldn't have had money with me. I just happened to have it. And then her girlfriend, you want like a broke nigga in front of her friends? Like, where they do that at? I'm so confused. Anyway, child-sized bed, a gigantic painting of him above the bed. It was a beautiful painting. And I just want to be clear. It was a really nice painting. It wasn't jankety. It was very nice. Had it been in the living room, I would have felt better about it. I'm like, even Whitley Gilbert put the painting of herself like in the living room. You put this above your bed? Screams narcissist to me. And then on his dresser, which is also made of the dorm room furniture, there's a series of statues, a man and a woman in each, in various sexual positions. The really, really big one, like it was excessively big for like a bedroom statue. Again, this is something for the size of the statue and the size of the room. It was something that would have made more sense as like a centerpiece in the living room, had it not been a woman bent over and a man hitting it from the back. Like, I was just like, what? Okay, like, you like to fuck. Me too. Most adults do. But like, this is how you display it? It felt very, when I wrote about it on Instagram, I described it as feeling like I was in a porn shop. More accurately, I should have said I felt like I was in a porno. Like one of those weird African fetish pornos or something. Like, it was bizarre. So I was like, I'm at like the sexual circus. Get me the fuck out of here. So he does drive Davita and I back to the hotel. He drives up in front of the hotel. Davita opens the door immediately and it was like, all right, good night. I was like, you gonna leave me in this car with this crazy motherfucker to deal with this bullshit? He was like, am I parking to come up or? And I was like, oh no, you're gonna go home. Because I'm jet lagged, as I said before. And thank you so much for the ride home. Can you text me, please, to let me know that you got home safely? All right, see you soon. I think I reached for his shoulder and gave him like a firm shoulder squeeze and then popped out the car. This is ridiculous. You done had me and my girl split a $30 tab. You done okey-doked us to get in your house, sleeping in a child-sized bed, got a gigantic picture of you over your bed, and then got all these sexual statues all over the place. I was like, no. And I left out this detail. There's tons of paintings of nudes all over the apartment. Had it been one or two, it would have been, tasteful. Like, okay, it's a bachelor pad. Like, you like the female form. It is an art form. I get it. I appreciate it. I see nothing wrong with it. It had to be at least 5 nude paintings. And I was like, between the paintings and then the statues and then the dorm furniture and then the child-sized bed. And I was like, you clearly like to fuck. I know you're not doing all this fucking on this dorm furniture and in this child-sized bed. No. In LA, I had a king-size bed for just me. Just me. I don't sleep on a child-sized bed on my own. I'd be damned if I'm fucking somebody in one. So that's the demise of British Bae. I swore I had told y'all this story. When I shared the reminder about the demise of British Bae on Instagram, everybody was like, what the fuck? No. Where did this come from? No, like we wonder what happened to British Bae. You never said. And I was like, I swear I told y'all this. No, we would have remembered. When I take this podcast, I usually record for about a minimum of 1:15 up to 1:45. And then I edit it down to the most interesting topics, edit out errors and gaffes and all of that, dead space and whatever. And that's the final product that I put out every week. I think I told this story and then edited it out either because I don't even know. Maybe I didn't feel like I told the story right. Maybe I thought the story was petty. Maybe I was embarrassed that I had been entertaining a clown for months. I mean, it wasn't like a daily thing, but like I hung out with him like on a regular basis when I was in Ghana, and then we stayed in touch for a few months. Like it wasn't hot and heavy. Definitely liking him and anticipating seeing him again. And then, yeah, the first night I was back, clown shit. So that's the demise of British Bray. It's time to ditch the chemicals with Caraway Home's non-toxic cookware and bakeware collections, so you can make healthier cooking a piece of cake. Caraway Home's non-toxic kitchenwares are all designed for the modern home and feature a chemical-free ceramic coating, so food can be prepared with peace of mind that no hard-to-pronounce compound will leach into your healthy ingredients. All sets come equipped with easy access storage solutions so that no stacking is required. Also, gone are the days of misplacing your lids, which is perfect for someone like me. I love Caraway's cookware set. It's a modern and chemical-free iteration of the traditional 16-piece set, boiled down to 4 essentials: a fry pan, saute pan, saucepan, and a Dutch oven. It's perfect for someone like me who doesn't cook a lot and also doesn't have a lot of storage space. I also love Caraway Home's Iconics collection. It's high designed, upgraded, featuring 2 unmistakable classic shades, both dressed up in glossy gold hardware. Visit carawayhome.com/ratchet to take advantage of this limited time offer for 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/ratchet or use code RATCHET at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. Peloton isn't just about bikes and treadmills. It's a team of instructors ready to motivate you 24/7. With Peloton, there are literally thousands of classes ranging from strength training and yoga to running and boxing, which means Peloton is the perfect non-judgmental space to experiment with new types of movement at a level and pace that feel good for you. But what if you're super busy? What I love most about Peloton is it doesn't matter if you have 5 minutes or an hour. If you're an early riser or a fan of the evening burn, there's a Peloton class that fits into your day. Maybe you're looking for a 10-minute upper body stretch between calls or a 30-minute run before bed. Peloton is where you'll find what works for you on your schedule, wherever you happen to be, at home, at the gym, or even outdoors. Oh, and did I mention that the music is absolutely iconic? In the mood to blast 90s hip hop? There's a class for that. Need to ugly cry to some power ballads after a bad day at work? There's a class for that. Looking for a Pride Month playlist that will get your blood pumping? There's a class for that too. My favorite Peloton class is Crush Your Core with Emma. Whatever you're into, Peloton has the music that will get you moving. Motivation that moves you anytime, anywhere. Try the Peloton Bike or Tread risk-free for 30 days. Learn more at onepeloton.com. New members only. Terms apply. Is there anything else pressing this week that we really need to talk about? I still haven't listened to the Serena Megan podcast. I saw Megan's on the cover of The Cut as well. Haven't had a chance to read it yet. I actually had to do some work over the last couple days. Oh, this Irv Gotti documentary. I'm so mad at Irv Gotti. Like, I was mad at Irv Gotti before. Like, I think I called him a trash-ass human in a previous episode, which I still stand by. But Irv Gotti did this Murder, Inc. documentary for BET. And to promote it, he went on Drink Champs, and he's been saying all these terrible things about Ashanti, spilling all sorts of 20-year-old tea. He went on another show. He had more to say about Ashanti. He gets on Instagram. He has more to say about Ashanti. Was it the VMAs last night? Was he on the red carpet? He had more to say about Ashanti. He will not stop talking about this woman. And he's doing it as promo for this Murder, Inc. documentary. I was actually genuinely interested in the story of Murder, Inc. Irv Gotti's heyday is the late 90s to the early aughts. It's the time in my life when I was most heavily in the club. like literally my college years and my early 20s. Murder Inc. was huge. So I wanted to see this documentary. So despite my hate of Irv Gotti, I tune in to watch the Murder Inc. doc. I also know some people that worked on the documentary. I know tons of people that work at BET. I used to work at BET. Okay. So I tune in to watch this Murder Inc. doc. He got Jay-Z, who don't show up for anything unless it's A-list. Jay-Z is up in this documentary. Nas is up in this documentary. You got two hip-hop heavyweights who came and sat for your documentary. I don't understand why that wasn't the selling point. Watching this documentary, I'm learning shit about Irv Gotti I had no clue about. Irv Gotti is the reason DMX got on. He was an A&R somewhere and they didn't want to sign DMX and he was like, well, then I quit. Like he was that serious about him. We don't get DMX without Irv Gotti. Some of Jay-Z's biggest songs, Irv Gotti produced. I had no clue. I had no clue there was an affiliation between Irv Gotti and Jay-Z until Jay-Z pops up in the documentary. Who knew? I mean, everybody else in hip-hop knew. I didn't know. I don't understand why that wasn't your selling point. Go tell your stories about Hov. He's talking about he and Jay-Z met. Irv Gotti was out in London producing something, and that's how he met Jay-Z. And Jay-Z liked his beats and was like, I need something for this. And Irv was like, I got you. And then it turned out to be one of Jay-Z's biggest songs. Tell that story, nigga. He says one of his biggest regrets is Jay-Z and Nas had beef. He decided to sign Nas to Murder Inc. without thinking, his version, about the implications of what that would mean for his relationship with Jay-Z. He said he was high all the time. He wasn't thinking straight. Okay. Tell that story, nigga. Why is the story that you're telling everyone about Ashanti? Irv Gotti got a million good stories. He got DMX stories. He got Jay-Z stories. He got Nas stories. He has Jennifer Lopez stories. You got tons of stories about A-list people that aren't disrespectful or invasive. They're just like stories about life that happened and they're interesting. Nigga, tell that shit. It's far more interesting than 20 years ago when I was in my 30s and still married. Separated is married. It is. You're still legally, emotionally, and psychologically tethered to someone else. Even separated. Separate houses, living in separate states. Ask me how I know. You was a grown-ass man with all your grown-ass man baggage and took advantage, really, because Ashanti was no more than 20, 21 tops at the time. Took advantage of a young woman who was showing up in the studio every day, working hard by all accounts, writing stuff, singing backgrounds, trying to get on however she could. She was headed home. You offered to drive her. And then when you got to her house, your version of events is you kissed her and grabbed her on the ass. There was no mention of consent or mutual interest or anything like that. You were the owner of a label and you held this woman's career possibilities in your hands. Huge power and difference. And then you grab her ass and kiss her. Irv Gotti's version of the story is I was in love with her. And he was sitting there watching TV one day. This is what he said on Drink Champs. And he saw she was with Nelly and he was devastated. How could she do this to me? How could you do that to her? You were in love. Clearly she wasn't. She was trying to get on. Irv Gotti also, I thought this was halfway decent of him. And the least he could have done, considering the way he's been dragging Ashanti for the last few weeks. He said in the documentary that she was a great writer. She was a great singer. That he didn't put her on because he was dating her. He put her on because she was talented. She'd been on tracks already and was making noise. People were interested. She wasn't signed to his label and didn't have her own album in the works. He signed her after she'd done a couple hooks and duets and was like, oh, okay. But he was also dating her at the time. But he explicitly says that's not why he signed her. So this narrative about Ashanti that's been going on for the last couple of weeks, like, oh, she only got on because by Irv's account, she was good and already doing the work. By everyone's account, she was in the studio 24/7 trying to get on. She put in the work. But you took advantage of that girl. That young girl, that barely legal girl. It's a bunch of fucking predators. I was talking about this to a friend the other day, and I was like, why doesn't anybody call this shit out? Why aren't men calling this shit out? Like, he's a 30-something-year-old man. This is like a 19, 20-year-old girl. That shit's fucked up. And they were like, who's going to call him out? It's not going to be Jay-Z. Because how old was Beyonce when he started messing with her? Oh, that's by their math. Oh, okay. Other thing I want to talk about, this Mike Tyson series on Hulu. I said I wasn't going to watch it. If you recall, I went to ABFF and Trevante Rhodes, who stars in the Hulu series as Mike Tyson, he just rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, yeah, he's gorgeous. His body is amazing. But just overall, like I used to be very like, God damn. And now when I see him, I just see a body. He's ungood. But they also played the trailer at ABFF and it looked amazing. But then Mike Tyson came out and was like, yeah, I have no affiliation with this. And Hulu just stole my life and then went and made a whole TV series about it. And it's not cool. I'm paraphrasing. Let me read to you exactly what Mike said. He's spoken out about it a couple times. This is from Entertainment Weekly. It says, immediately following the news of the show, quote, Tyson blasted the project on social media. Hulu's announcement to do an unauthorized miniseries of the Tyson story without compensation, although unfortunate, isn't surprising. This announcement on the heels of social disparities in our country is a prime example of how Hulu's corporate greed led to this tone-deaf cultural misappropriation of the Tyson life story. To make this announcement during Black History Month only confirms Hulu's concern for dollars over respect for Black story rights. Hollywood needs to be more sensitive to Black experiences. Fair. So after that, I was like, oh, I'm not going to watch this. Not that I'm a huge Mike Tyson supporter, because I'm not. I do recognize that Mike Tyson has done some life work. You can listen to him speak and how he carries himself. He has done the work. He is not the person that he was in his 20s and maybe 30s, nor should he be. If you are 50-something and you are still the person that you were in your 20s or 30s, you have wasted your life. You should have evolved in some way. You should not think the same way that you did in your 20s and 30s. Same hopes and dreams? Fine. Your outlook on life should be different. Your life experiences should have matured you, should have expanded you, should have taught you some things. And I respect Mike's growth. Also, just as, I don't know, a person, I wouldn't want someone to take the highlights of my life that they've seen play out in public or from books that have been written about me or interviews that I've done and just piece together a story and I have no involvement in it whatsoever. That just seems very like ick to me. Like, I know he's a public figure. This is something that Hulu has done, so I guess it's legal. I haven't heard anything about a lawsuit or a cease and desist. The show is still airing. The first 2 episodes came out, I guess, last week. So Tyson blasted Hulu in February, and then he blasted them again a couple weeks before the premiere of the show. He wrote on Instagram, quote, "Don't let Hulu fool you. I don't support their story about my life. It's not 1822, it's 2002. They stole my life story and didn't pay me. To Hulu executives, I'm just a nigger they can sell on the auction block." He posted that as a screenshot on Instagram, and then his caption says, "Hulu is the streaming version of the slave master. They stole my story and didn't pay me." Now, you know I support folks speaking out about somebody using their shit. I supported Khalees. I supported Dave Chappelle. He was like, I signed a bad contract for Comedy Central, and I feel like Netflix, and I want to say it was HBO, and he's like, and I feel like Netflix is taking advantage of me by streaming the Chappelle show, and I'm not seeing a dime off of it. That was my creation, and literally my face is all the way up and through it. Dave Chappelle put up it was somewhere like a 10-minute stand-up, you could say. He was on a stage and there was a microphone in his hand. He was upset about Netflix not paying him. And he made a distinction of what you're legally allowed to do and what is ethically the right thing to do are 2 different things. Because legally you can take this show that was my creation and you cannot pay me. Because it's legal doesn't mean it's ethical or moral or right. Netflix agreed. They also had Dave Chappelle under contract for like $60 million and he was bringing them a ton of money but Netflix agreed to pay him something for the Chappelle show. I mention that because although Hulu legally can take Mike Tyson's story and piece together things from interviews and books and public moments, pop culture moments, because they can do that legally, doesn't mean it's the ethical, moral, right thing to do. Same thing with Beyonce and Khalees. Because she legally didn't have to call Khalees and let her know, doesn't mean that someone, I don't even think it had to be Beyonce. It could have been Pharrell. It could have been Chad. It could have been someone that works for one of their businesses. Hey girl, this is what's happening. Just want to let you know because the album drops tomorrow morning. Something. No one thought to do that, and it caused a big brouhaha for like a week on the internet. It didn't have to happen. But Hulu has done what's legal, but I don't think what's right or ethical or moral. I say all that to say, I still watched the first 2 episodes. I bootlegged it, so maybe it's not as bad that I watched it. It's actually kind of good. Trevante Rhodes as Mike Tyson is actually freakishly good. Freakishly good. His bald wig cap is not so good. Trevante said on Instagram they were supposed to edit it in post, and they clearly didn't. Like, you can see the line for the wig cap, and I was like, if you're going to do Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson is pissed about it, you could have done Mike Tyson better than that. I only saw the first 2 episodes because that's all that's available right now, at least to me. I have a couple of friends who are journalists who got the screeners. They've seen the first 5 episodes. Everyone says it's pretty good, just in terms of the acting and capturing all of the highlights and lowlights of Tyson's biggest moments. He's had many. He's been popular since at least the late 80s. There's a lot of story to be told. He's had a lot of frankly bizarre or captivating incidents. That said, the general consensus for most of the people I know who've seen more than the 2 episodes available, it's interesting to look at, and Trevante does a really good job, but it's not telling people anything they didn't know. Also, most of the people that are saying that are my age, so we lived it. But I guess if you're maybe like a 20-something watching this and you don't know the full Tyson story or mystique, you might be more intrigued by it than people who actually lived through it and remember it all in real time. But I will probably bootleg the rest of the episodes. So, yeah. I still feel bad, though, about what they're doing to Tyson. I think what's bothering me, too, though, is like they're trying to defend it. They blatantly admitted that they didn't reach out to Tyson. They said something about they couldn't reach out because of something about life rights. And Tyson was like, no, my life rights expired years ago. You absolutely could have reached out and then you didn't. I hate when people are dead ass wrong and just won't say they're wrong. Like, if you do some fucked up shit, just stand in your fucked up shit. Don't try to deny it. Don't try to change it into something else. Don't try to justify it. Be like, you did some fucked up shit. You know what? I did. What can you do with that? It's the denial that keeps the story going. Like, you did some fucked up shit. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. You did some fucked up shit. I did. There's no more story. There's no more conflict. Speaking of stories and conflict, I need to go finish writing this damn script. I was never supposed to write this script. Now they got me writing the script. Once I got the opening line, it's been flowing. I just need to clean it up so it can be seen in public. It's not ready for public consumption yet. And by public consumption, I mean, like, you know, the studio, the production, my lawyer. All right. We'll be back on Tuesday. Hopefully I will listen to this Meghan Markle podcast by then. I'll definitely have read the interview. We'll see. Life is a lot. Life is good, but life is a lot. All right. That's our episode for this week. I'll be back on Friday. All right. Bye. Almost forgot.